need your sponsors, man.
Oh my god, yo, this shit is mad annoying. Every time I go on YouTube, it's like prompting me to go. Anyways, who gives a fuck about all that? All right, so we got two Canelo fan boys in here, and then we got two Canelo haters in here. Let's get
What?
it. All right, so I'm on
We're
my
not haters.
so, I'm on
This is
my
gonna
break
be fun.
from I'm on my lunch break, so I got about like 40 minutes to talk with you guys. All right, so pretty much we all saw what happened yesterday. Were any of you guys surprised? Let me start off with Jay because I've never had him on here. It's the first time. Joseph, go ahead. Let me know. Were you surprised at all whatsoever in what you saw?
Well, first off, thanks for having me, bro. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime.
But honestly, I was shocked the way that Dimitri was able to dominate the fight. I really was. I was expecting a difficult fight. Honestly, I even told my wife. It's funny. I told my wife. She asked me, "We're gonna bet," and I said, you know, put $20 on Vivo by decision. I swear to God, like I'll have a right to you and confirm this. And I was joking around, not knowing what I'm saying, but I said that because I just had a feeling about this fight, man. I in the last few years I haven't been watching boxing the way I used to watch it before. But I can say that I've seen his last 5, 6 fights, and I just knew that this could be a recipe for disaster. Honestly, Bevo is game. His defense is tight. He has a quick 1-2. He knows how to change speeds. Like I noticed that he was doing that last night. And he'll hit Canelo with a jab with a straight right, and then out of nowhere he'll just come down and throw a quick right and catch him off guard. And Canelo just looked very uncomfortable. I honestly cannot see a rematch going any other way other than being a little bit closer. But I still see Dimitri winning a rematch. I just think Canelo should really stay at 168. I think that's already a little bit too high for him. And this is a perfect example of what happens when two great skillful fighters meet and one is just a lot bigger. I think that made a huge difference.
Joe, do you see anything going different in the rematch? Because I know Canelo Alvarez said he wants to do the rematch right away, which, you know what? I'm kind of happy because I really did not want to see another Triple G fight. Triple G is just too old at this point. I don't think anybody gives a shit about that fight. So do you see anything? Do you see any different, it going any different in the rematch?
So, first of all, good to meet you, Jay. Welcome, and thanks for having me on, Johnny. Good to see you, Adrian. Before I go into that, let's talk about this. First of all, let's give Dimitri Bivol all the credit in the world. All the credit. He beat the #1 pound for pound fighter, and it was convincing. It was like 8-4, 9-3, or 10-2. If you have it any higher, I don't know what you were watching. 8-4, I think, is generous, but like fine. I had a 9-3 personally because like 8-4 could be like a swing round, whatever. So with Bivol, right? The big thing about Bivol is that like when we were talking, I remember our last conversation. We were talking about what were the toughest fights for Canelo. We agreed Bivol and Beterbiev. I had already said he wouldn't beat Beterbiev.
So did I.
Bivol was a fight I said that's a 50-50 fight, and that could go either way. I thought Bivol was going to be really dangerous, but even I didn't see this coming. Mostly because when the fight started, obviously Bivol was going to jab. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. He's jabbing. He's hitting Canelo's gloves a lot. Like, this doesn't really do anything for me. But after like the fifth, or I think it was after the 6th round, it just everything changed because Canelo threw the kitchen sink at him in the first 6 and had nothing left. And Bivol just started picking him apart. I would like to argue really quickly about this. Bivol has I love the fact that we're not going to see a third Triple G fight. I don't want to see it. I think that's lame. I think Triple G is done. Have him fight Charlo or Andrade or somebody else. I don't care. Make Bivol happen, but give Bivol all the credit in the world because people were calling Bivol a Euro bum. They were calling him another white guy that we were trying to hype up and say he wasn't that good. Even as a Canelo fan, even I knew what kind of danger he posed. I knew he was better than all the guys that Canelo had fought aside from Triple G. And now Bivol, here's the thing, right? Bivol is like for 175, he's small, but Canelo started his career at 147, my guy. Like this is not Pascal. This is not Campanos. This is not any of those guys. This is a guy who came up from 147, was going to give up size. And even in the Kovalev fight, I put a bet on Kovalev. Kovalev didn't win, but he was winning that fight until the knockout happened. That's why I've always said Canelo his size, his length was eventually going to be an issue because if he couldn't manhandle a guy, well, you saw what happened.
Yep. And you know what's funny now? I'm glad that you brought up the let's give Bivol all the credit in the world because they're not doing that. ESPN, Yahoo Sports, all of them. Everybody's just talking about Canelo was chasing greatness. He dared to be great. He dared to be. Nobody's even acknowledging the fact that Canelo was already a champion at 175. They're making it seem like this guy just moved up, like on some Juan Manuel Marquez that moved up 2 weight classes to fight Floyd Mayweather his first fight. Like, no, like this guy already fought at 175 before. Slow your roll down a little bit. Like I understand he did, make a crazy thing by moving up to 175 and fighting Bivol. Like I didn't think he would do that, right? So I'm glad that you guys, at least big Canelo fans, are at least acknowledging that Bivol should get all the praise in the world because nobody else is. It's all about Canelo daring to be great. And throughout that whole lead up, what was the main thing? Canelo chasing greatness, chasing greatness, chasing greatness. Nobody gave a fuck about Bivol chasing greatness. It was just all Canelo, Canelo, Canelo. So I'm glad you guys finally are fucking giving him some goddamn credit, bro, because Facebook groups and it's just the same old shit, man.
Terrible.
The same old shit, bro.
Did you see the things they were saying about him?
You said what?
Did you see the things they were saying about Bivol before the fight happened? Because now they're claiming him. Now they're claiming him. That's how you know they don't. You know how they don't give a fuck about boxing, bro? Because like if it had been Jermall Charlo or Demetrius Andrade doing this thing, bro, they would have lost their minds. They probably would have had an orgy with each other, honestly. But no, because it's Bivol, now they get to sit here and act like they supported him when they were calling this a Euro tour. Like fuck that, dude. Bivol beats the shit out of any guy under 175. And easily. And we've already you and me have already had this talk about Bivol would beat Benavidez. He would stop Charlo. He would stop Andrade. Like, stop it. Stop.
Fights aren't even close.
But then again, I feel as though Canelo would do that too. I don't think he could beat Benavidez, but I think he stomps on Charlo. I think he destroys Andrade. I don't know what the big hype about Andrade is. He's really nothing special.
And he's injured again.
Yeah, he just pulled out again.
Johnny, I disagree with that.
Yeah.
Johnny, I disagree with that.
You disagree with Andrade?
No, I think, listen, I know that Demetrius hasn't fought anyone, but in his defense, again, this is one of those styles make fights type of things. I'm not saying he beats Canelo, but I personally feel that Demetrius will give Canelo more problems than Charlo and David Benavidez. And I'll explain why if you allow me to.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
I've never heard anybody say that. Go ahead.
So quickly, I just believe, I'm a huge believer in styles make fights. I believe that if you look at the fights that Canelo hasn't looked sensational with guys like Mayweather, Lara, guys like Bivol, is usually guys that are very skilled and have a tight defense. I don't see David having the defense that requires for you to keep Canelo off of him for 12 rounds. I just think that in a firefight, I'm trusting Canelo's jaw, which I think is the best in boxing. It was tested last night a few times. And obviously, Triple G, in my opinion, back in 2017 was a harder puncher than David has ever been. I could be wrong. Maybe David has quicker hands and is a better combination puncher. I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park. I just think that in a 12-round fight, he doesn't have the defense or the skills that takes to really beat a fighter of the level that Canelo has, which he's all around very solid as well,
Who has David fought to even earn that fight?
Nobody.
All right.
Nobody. I mean, he fought. Who was it? Is it Anthony or Andre Dirrell?
Anthony Dirrell.
Okay,
he beat Andre Dirrell. Lost to Usakategi. If I'm not
right. So he beat Anthony Dirrell. Now he's fighting David Lemieux. So he's fighting David Lemieux now. Decent name.
I don't even know why
don't
we
get
bring
me
up
wrong.
David.
That'll be a firefight. That would be a firefight.
That's gonna be a good fight because David Lemieux, he's still in his prime.
Be fight of the year. Don't get me wrong. It's not. I'm not saying Benavidez won't. Benavidez is gonna get his shots in because he's good. But I just don't think that he can withstand Canelo.
Honestly,
like I said, I don't know. All credit to Bivol, but as a Canelo fan, maybe as the fanboy in me, but either Canelo didn't train properly or he's on the decline.
honestly,
excuses because I swear I was panicking watching that fight last night. Like, holy crap! Like, he hasn't gassed out in like 7-8 years, and all of a sudden he's gassing out. He looks tired. He looks very slow. Like, I was panicking. I was like, man, and we lost. But all credit to Bivol. I don't want to sound like a sore loser. It's just that I don't know if it's all the fame. You see him golfing a lot, Tiger Woods. I don't know if it's a combination of just living a great life. And he looks so happy, so in love with his wife, with his family. He's always with them, at least, in the public eye. That's, what we see. And I don't know if it's a combination of all of that he's just at a comfortable place where maybe he didn't run and put the miles in that he should have put, because I've never seen Canelo this gassed. The last time I saw him gassed out like that was probably in the Trout fight.
Yep. I was actually just about to say that.
He was gasping for air. And this is like the most dedicated fighter right now. The reason why he's been on top for the last 9 years. So I don't want to take too much time. I apologize.
No, you.
I just think that Bivol is just at a next level, and we really, really need to give him credit. Because even if Canelo is the smaller guy, what he did there last night and the way he dominated that fight, you can't take nothing away from that dude. I'm sorry. I just can't be unfair and not give him his props. I got to give him his props. And I think he'll beat Arthur if he stays away from that power. He's too slow. I don't see him having the and do you know how much confidence this fight has given Bivol?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead,
He's
Adrian, because I know
undefeated.
you wanted to say
Let me
that.
go real fast. So real quick. I'm
Yeah.
not even gonna David.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm not even going to mention David Benavidez or any of the guys at 168 until they fight each other. I'm going to need Plant, Charlo, or Benavidez to fight each other, or all three of them should face each other, to be honest with you. I don't care about them, because if anything, if Canelo doesn't get the rematch, I think we all know that Triple G fight's coming. You may not want it, but that fight's probably going to happen. If
Possibly. You know what? I want to say something though. I wanted to say something to what Joseph was saying.
Because Canelo looked vulnerable last night.
Joseph,
you said,
oh, hold on.
they're saying that Charlo could beat him. I've seen posts of people saying, hey, Triple G might take him. I don't know. Canelo looked gassed out. It's just crazy how people, how the perception has changed.
Real quick.
Based on one night. Because at this time yesterday, 24 hours ago, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Real quick, Johnny.
That's boxing, though.
Really quickly.
Fast.
Hold on. I just want to say something before I forget. Because something Jay said stuck out to me. So he said this is the first time he's ever seen Canelo this gassed out since Austin Trout. And I agree with you. Now, I'm not really a conspiracy theorist, but Canelo has receipts. And just hear me out. Could it be? You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you guys know. We all know Canelo has receipts. I mean, he's got receipts, bro. I'm not making this up.
Do I need to play the Twilight Zone clip for you?
Oh, I'm just saying. Listen, man, the guy has tested positive twice. Could it be that he maybe wasn't on PEDs last night? Maybe he was just like, you know what? I want to see how good I am. Let me not be on PEDs.
So let me address.
He's looking. I'll give you a chance to respond. Let me just say something real quickly. Just think about it. I saw Canelo yesterday. The way he was built compared to how he was built against Kovalev, he wasn't shredded. He had a little chubbiness in his belly, which is actually surprising. Another thing too, we usually don't see Canelo tired. Yesterday he was very gassed. Could have been. It could have been maybe he was just missing too many punches. Maybe Bivol was just too fast for him. I don't know. All I'm saying is. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
You know what I think it is.
Respect that,
basically,
the receipts are there.
So basically, I want to talk about something that Jay had said earlier, and then Aaron, you just got on, so then I'll let you go because, obviously, you need to get your fill in. So the reason, a couple of things. First of all, it's not that Canelo didn't train. Canelo trained as hard as he's always been. He's a gym rat. The thing was with Bivol. He tried doing what he did to everybody else at 168, including Kovalev. He tried to fight on the inside, challenge his jabs with hooks to the body, an uppercut down the middle when Bivol would keep his guard tight, and he was landing early. But after that, you saw how red Canelo was, and it was because he was trying. Usually what ends up happening in these Canelo fights, and a lot of people don't talk about, is like when he's battering you, these guys stop throwing punches. They stop moving. They stop engaging with you. So Canelo doesn't have to engage with you as often as you would need him to in order to get him gassed. Bivol is the reason Canelo was tired. Bivol is the reason why Canelo looked the way that he did. It had nothing to do with training. There were no injuries. There was no lack of preparation. And also, really quickly, because now people are starting to give Eddie Reynoso a lot of shit, honestly, I don't think you could have given Canelo any better advice. What are you going to tell him to do? Box with a guy who has a way better reach than you? Fight from the outside with a guy who has a better jab than you? This was Canelo's. This bread and butter, it works for Canelo, and it's good. It just, Bivol is big, strong, the same age. I think he's like 31, so he's around the same age as Canelo.
Yep.
And he hasn't been in wars. He's a legit 175-pounder. He's not coming off a knockout loss or coming off wars like Kovalev was, and he's not as old. And honestly, Bivol was just way more skilled than we thought he was. After the 6th round where Canelo was just completely gassed, like that, it was easy pickings for Bivol. That's why Bivol didn't even go for the finish. He didn't have to, because when Canelo was lying on the ropes, Bivol was just kind of cool, pause some more. Okay, you're not doing anything. I'm going to take this round. Like, Bivol's been doing that, and he could get more stoppages if he wanted them. He just knew what he had to do. Shout outs to his training camp. Shout outs to his coaches. Shout out to that entire staff, because what Bivol did was impressive. And now we have to talk about where Bivol goes on the pound-for-pound list, because Shakur Stevenson and Bivol made splashes in these last few weeks, and we need to see where they fit. Go ahead, Aaron.
Bivol has a good resume in general. Like, he's so underrated. He should definitely be on the pound-for-pound list after this.
So let me, this is interesting. Let me show you guys something just really quickly. Just what do you guys think? Do you guys think maybe Canelo didn't take him seriously? Just check this out. So peep this. I did a side-by-side photo of Canelo versus Kovalev and then Canelo versus Bivol. So peep this. I don't know if you guys could really see the difference. So in here, I don't know. Am I bugging, or does he look a little bit more chubbier here than he does here?
He looks a little leaner. He looks leaner in Kovalev, but over here on the left side, it looks like he's putting on a little more flab. But honestly, I think people need to understand that fat. There's a reason you need fat in your body. Fat is what your body uses to burn energy. People don't want to be completely shredded, because then you're gassing out. Like, there's guys who compete. Like muscly guys, there's a reason why that you need them to do cardio. Fat is necessary to burn energy. So I actually don't mind the way he looks here. Matter of fact, I actually think Canelo looked what he does against Bivol the same way he looked against Caleb Plant. He wasn't as shredded, and that was at 168.
Okay, so because there was a lot of people saying that Canelo was not in shape, that he wasn't taking this fight serious.
Not an excuse. No.
But if you also look though, the lighting plays a major factor too. And the picture where he looks more in shape, it's a black background and it's darker and it's a little farther out.
Let's see. Let me see what you're saying.
Yeah, let me
go
grab
back to
some
Okay,
water.
so okay. I get what you're saying.
Right. He's definitely a little farther out.
Yeah,
it's a darker background. In the left picture, he's closer up and it's like outside setting. You know what I'm saying? So it's more brighter, so you can't see the definition.
So you guys didn't see any flabbiness on him last night at all whatsoever?
Not really.
No?
Take a quick point real fast.
Maybe I'm the only one, but I could have sworn I saw a little bit of flab.
Hey,
go ahead,
so
Adrian.
Johnny, the one thing I think a lot of fans understand is, if you look at guys that moved up, like as far as champion, Izzy Adesanya, when he moved up to light heavyweight, there's a reason why a lot of guys take time to move up. It's very difficult. And but I think the biggest difference, and just for the record, I did bet on Bivol decision, and everyone before when I made the bet, everyone looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens. So I took it at plus 700. That's the odds I got, just for the record. But I thought it was too soon that he was moving up, because same with Izzy, when you move up, your body needs to acclimate to that weight class. So I think when he was missing these punches at 160, 168, he didn't get as tired. But as you saw last night, the first few rounds, he was, when you throw wide looping punches, and if you miss them, you get tired fast.
Yeah.
You know what I also think is, so usually when Canelo fights, he takes a few rounds off, and from the jump, he has to fight and engage. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't able to preserve his energy as much. You know what I'm saying?
The
won those
problem
early
from what I
rounds.
saw,
Don't get it twisted. He definitely won those early rounds. Bivol
from what I saw, the reason why I think, well, this is the reason why I know Canelo lost this fight. I just made a whole video about it. It's just, unfortunately, he was just too short to fight from the outside. You know, Canelo is 5'10", if that. Bivol's what? 6'3"?
No, Canelo is 5'7". Canelo's like 5'7", 5'8".
Canelo's 5'7", bro.
Yeah, he is not a tall man.
Let me see.
You know how I know that he's 5'7"? I forgot the name of the guy that he's in camp. But when I went to his fight, that I met one of his corner guys on the lobby for him to hand me the tickets.
Yeah,
he's in every picture. He's like the same height as Canelo, and this dude was like the same height as me.
Yeah,
and I'm 5'6.5".
Yeah.
And what people tend to realize is he probably gassed out too, because the stockier you are, the more susceptible you are to gas out. Like Bible, he's tall, but he has a skinny frame and skinnier arms. Canelo's more of a stocky build. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And see, I'm looking at the height difference. So you guys tell me, Canelo's 5'7", Bivol is 6 feet tall. And fighting from the outside, you're 5'7", fighting a guy 6 feet tall who's got a good jab, who has good lateral movement, clearly faster hands than you do.
I think Canelo's definitely 5'8".
I don't know.
I think that 5'8's a bit boosted because I've seen him.
Montana Love is 5'8".
Miguel Cotto's 5'8", and if you look at their pictures from the weigh-in, Canelo's a tad shorter. Pull that up, Johnny, if you get a chance.
Google says 5'8". But either way, he's a lot shorter.
Yeah.
So you're
he's not 5'9", though. He's not 5'9".
You're 5'7", 5'8", and you're trying to fight a guy that's got a longer reach than you, 6 feet tall. Like I said, faster hands from the outside. You're never gonna win that fight. If you look at Mike Tyson's whole career, he was like 5'10", fighting guys 6'4" and up all the time. He never fought from the outside. Always coming on the inside, and unfortunately, Canelo just could never. He just could not get on the inside.
So actually, really quickly, you were talking about the height difference. So think about who Canelo's been fighting recently. Like Callum Smith, obviously, was way taller than Canelo.
6'3".
So was Caleb Plant. You know what the difference is? And I'm gonna have to go back to it again.
Go ahead.
It's one quality that we don't talk about. We just kind of throw out, and we say this for fighters who lose a lot and get into wars. But here, it really mattered. Toughness. Bivol is tough. Bivol is strong. Very strong.
Yes,
he is not scrawny. He is built at 175. People call him a small 175 pounder, but honestly, he's the best. He's arguably the best in shape looking person at 175. I don't think a single person at 175 looks better as an athlete than Bivol does. Just look at everyone else's pictures. Beterbiev looks a bit flabby. So Zurdo just looks just tall.
Yeah, he's just tall.
Yeah. Jesse Hart, whatever. Marcus Brown was kind of looking that way, but we knew what he was about. Bivol is tough. He grinded Canelo. He weathered the storm early from Canelo. Canelo was throwing the kitchen sink at him, and early on, those uppercuts were coming in. There was even a point where he threw a shot that clipped Bivol, and Bivol literally retreated because he it obviously affected him. He didn't like that shot. But once he did, and you saw how red Canelo was getting after the sixth, that was it. That was all Canelo had. And it became target practice. It was easy. It was like hitting the mat. It was like hitting the pads. Yep. Bow. And that's it.
Yep. To me, it was just a matter of I loved how Dimitri Bivol was able to control distance. He is such a master at being able to do that. And if you notice, every time Canelo did any sort of movement, he would paw him. Like he would stretch that jab out and just keep it in his face. You know what I mean? So Canelo Alvarez, being blinded by that jab, already the distance is just too much for him. He was just never able to get on the inside.
He also has amazing footwork. His footwork really, really blew me away, man.
His lateral movement was
something crazy. that footwork away, and he loses that fight. That footwork to me is what really fucked Canelo up. Because he never gave Canelo a chance to set his feet. Ever.
Yeah, no. He was just that lateral movement is crazy.
Minus the knockout.
Can I ask a question real quick to everyone?
I gave Canelo 2-3 rounds. No more than that.
Go ahead, Joe.
Real quickly, because I saw this on a conversation and I need to know, because this is our chance to be very honest about everything.
Mhm.
Is Canelo overrated? Yes or no?
No.
No. Okay. Okay.
That's
Okay.
disrespectful.
Okay.
Anybody
Just making
saying
sure.
that, that's just it's just
No,
ridiculous.
okay. I'm just making sure
No.
because now the consensus is from certain people that Canelo was never that good and he doesn't have skills. He's just a mindless brawler. And it's like, bro, this is why I hate boxing fans.
What I could
despise
say
them.
to that, what I could say is he's nothing special. Like he's nothing we've never seen before, but he's not overrated by any means. You know what I mean?
Like
He's
no
not
one
great.
no
He's
one
not
deserved to be pound for pound fighter over him at that point until yesterday.
Mhm.
No one deserved it more than Canelo. Now I think it's Usyk, but that's just my personal take on it.
I had Usyk 1 before this.
Yeah,
fight.
I was just about to say that I've had Usyk number 1 for a while now.
I didn't, but now there's no argument. Now I can't. There's nothing you can say.
I can tell you one thing though, who's definitely not number 1. Terrence Crawford. Definitely not number
He's
1.
not.
If he beats Spence, you'll have no choice but to put him there.
I tell you what, the winner of Crawford and Spence to me is number 1.
Okay, let's
Spence.
see if that
Okay,
happens. No,
If
Spence. Okay, can I know we're going to talk about Canelo, but can I just ask this? Why is Spence rated so highly for one thing he did at one weight class when like everybody else is doing it at multiple weight classes?
he's doing what Keith Thurman was doing 3-4 years ago.
if you
Exactly. And Keith Thurman beat a better version of Sean Porter.
Yeah, and Danny Garcia as well.
And when Danny was undefeated.
Yeah.
And Keith Thurman was like he was still like I think he was still like top 5, top 6 pound for pound, but like Errol Spence going number 1 for doing something at one weight class to me is disrespectful to everybody else who had to do more at other weight classes.
Hey, can I ask you guys a quick question? If Terrence Crawford fights more than once a year, is he still undefeated? If he fights as active as Canelo,
it depends on who he fights. I think if he fights Errol Spence Jr. next year, I think he loses to Errol Spence.
Listen, I'm saying if he's active, he's gonna have to fight one of these guys at 147. He's gonna have to fight Thurman, Spence. He's gonna lose to Spence, so that's fine. I'll bet anyone. But he's gonna have to if he's anywhere near as active as Canelo, who's the most active ever, I think in the arts of lifetime for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He won't be undefeated, and he'll definitely not be pound for pound best. People need to chill. Like they over if you're a boxing fan and you have Terrence Crawford in your top 2 or 3, you don't know. You're just biased. You don't even know what you're talking about.
I got him in the top.
All right. Hold on.
Let Aaron talk. Aaron wants to talk.
Yeah. Let Aaron say what he's got to say.
Hey, maybe I'm a hater, but I thought Sean Porter beat Errol Spence.
I thought he beat Thurman.
You know,
not Spence.
You're not.
I just think
you're not a hater because I heard a lot of people say the same thing.
I think the determining factor in the Spence versus fucking Sean Porter fight was the knockdown. That's it.
I mean, what does that have to do with Bud though? Like Bud doesn't fight anybody.
He doesn't. But
like
listen,
1 year he fought Cal Brook and Amir Khan.
Listen, look, I don't know when this supposed 2-fight deal is gonna happen. I mean, we're in May. There's like
Crawford already
7
said
months left in the year, so
bro.
he's only gonna fight once a year, one time this year. It's probably gonna be Keith Thurman. Apparently, it's either Keith Thurman or Mario Barrios the first fight, and then the second fight is gonna be Errol Spence. Supposedly, I don't know. Who the fuck knows what's gonna happen?
Who cares? Who cares?
Actually,
Who cares about Terrence Crawford?
Speaking because like the last time we mentioned this, we were talking about Boots. I want to know why we're not hyping up Gary Antoine Russell, a guy who beat Boots in the amateurs, and it was very recent. It was one of his recent amateur bouts. Like we need to start hyping Gary Antoine Russell the way y'all hype up Jaron Ennis Boots because he's got better victories.
Yo, for his size, he's big, man. He's big.
Gary is a legitimate threat, and he's gonna move up from 140. He won't be there very long. So Virgil Ortiz and Boots will have company. And his name is Gary Antoine Russell.
So let me answer that really quickly. The reason why they're not hyping up Gary Antoine Russell as much as Jaron Ennis is because Jaron Ennis passes the eye test. And what I mean by that, hold on, because so does Gary. What I mean by that is Jaron Ennis looks like a guy that could be pound for pound fighter, even pound for pound fighter the number 1 pound for pound fighter at some point. Gary Antoine Russell is not there yet.
Why won't Crawford fight Boots?
Because it's a high risk, low reward.
Okay.
And Boots doesn't bring anything to the table right now.
He doesn't, unfortunately.
Like nothing at all.
I think
we're
Boots
hyping
Crawford,
whose best win is Lipinets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's just too high of a risk, and it's not worth it. Because think about it, Crawford beats him, they're gonna say, oh well, Ennis was a nobody, he never beat anybody good. If he loses to him, oh, he's overrated. He was never the same thing they're doing to Canelo right now. Ah, he's overrated. He was never that good. So it's not worth it to these guys. Same thing with Spence.
You can never win.
but now if Boots Ennis, let's say Josh Taylor goes up to 147, Boots beats him. Now it's worth it because now it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit, this guy.
Actually, that's a great fight. Oh
That
my
would be a great
god,
fight.
Josh Taylor versus Boots.
Yeah.
I don't know what Josh Taylor. I don't think Josh Taylor would take that fight because he's in the same boat because he just became undisputed.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna go to 147. And honestly, the only fights I really see for Taylor that he could make realistically is gonna be like Conor Benn and Kell Brook's off the table now because Kell Brook retired. Conor Benn and maybe Crawford. I don't see. I don't. Thurman maybe if PBC like offers him a bag.
Actually, you know what? That would be a Crawford thing to do. Fight Josh Taylor.
Yeah.
And you know what? That'd be the best win on his resume. To be honest.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
No hate towards Terrence
And
Crawford.
that's listen. I love Terrence Crawford,
face
but that's
him
my
up.
biggest issue with him. He
Yeah.
hasn't fought anyone.
Yeah, he's got.
No.
He's my second favorite fighter after Canelo, but my biggest issue with him is that he hasn't faced anyone, man, and I can't defend him anymore.
Yeah, no,
I can't.
So like, I mean, besides like Spence now, I mean, is there anyone realistically left for him to fight that would like sell you on him? Because do not put guys that don't have a title, have not had a title yet. Don't put guys that are prospects.
Okay,
Give me
I would-
guys
I would-
that are,
okay.
are credible.
I wouldn't mind seeing Crawford with. Okay, you said you only want champions.
Yeah, only champions. No,
Okay,
no
only
guys that haven't even had a title shot yet.
Shit. Other than Spence, who else is a champion? I think it's just him and Spence.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, what's left? Like, who could realistically?
You know
fight?
what? I wouldn't mind seeing him against Ugas, and I wouldn't mind seeing him even against Mario Barrios. To be quite honest with you,
Really?
I'm saying, I mean, it's better than what he's fighting recently.
I guess it's fine.
You
I
know?
guess it's a solid tune-up because like
Yeah.
he'll stop Mario Barrios.
Mhm.
I would
better
honestly,
stop him.
I'd like Keith Thurman only because it's just because of the name. Because I don't think Keith Thurman has a shot in that fight. I think he would like stop Keith Thurman. I don't think there's anything else. It's just Spence and Crawford.
Yeah,
And once
no,
that
really.
fight's done, they're moving up to 154 because 154 is looking like food.
No, look, this is okay. Crawford, look, he's not old in real life, but in boxing, everybody knows it's a young man's game, right? Usually around like 33, you tend to slow down a little bit. Crawford, I think he's 34 or he's turning 34. So he's getting to the age where he's going to be declining soon. I think going up to 154 is around this age, it's just a bad idea. Honestly, fight Spence. If you beat him, that's the biggest win of your career. And then, go retire on your high horse. I don't think 154 around this age is a good idea for him.
We should just really focus on fights, like fighters that actually box. And no, I'm just saying, like this is boxing. Fantasy boxing. I mean, that's what the other podcasts do.
Yeah,
There's like these. To even mention Crawford, he doesn't have a promoter. I don't even know why we waste our breath on him.
Yeah,
he's completely irrelevant. He makes a post on Twitter, and he gets every comment is negative. He doesn't even have a single positive comment. His own family doesn't even support him on social media.
Yeah, it's looking like there's a very good chance that Crawford might not even fight this year. We're in May. He doesn't even have a promoter. He's not signed.
Such a shame.
And for the record, Johnny, when did I make this first comment? Like, remember when I first said this was before his last fight?
Oh yeah.
We were in a podcast. I said this dude, he's not active enough for casual fans to give a fuck about him.
Right.
No
Right.
promoter is gonna lose millions on him again.
Mhm.
Bob Arum's. You guys think Bob Arum's stupid? Like, he's not Jake Paul. Like, this guy's in the business of money.
Mhm.
Terrence Crawford loses you money. No one gives a fuck about Terrence Crawford outside the, casual, the hardcore fans.
Mhm.
He's irrelevant. No one cares about him.
Oh, actually, Adrian.
You know what? I 1000% agree with you. To a certain extent, like he could probably sell out an arena in like Omaha, Nebraska. But if you take him to Vegas and put him up against like
Depends on the opponent.
yeah, like if he could probably sell out an arena with like a Keith Thurman or a Ugas, obviously with Spence. But he's, what I mean, he's not in the business of being marketable pay-per-view wise. He's not giving you
If
pay-per-view.
he paid money I just want to be 100% fair because I'm not a Crawford hater. I really don't give a fuck. If he was as good as he was, if he was as promotable as he was, promoters would be throwing money at him. Like, do you understand? Like, it's when you have a guy, if he honestly wants to fight and he's worth it, these promoters would pay him. They would rush to him, say, whatever you want, blank check. That's not the case. He's just not that guy. He's not.
And he's outpricing himself too, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so really quickly, I wanted to talk because because the last time me and Adrian and Johnny talked about Crawford, we were talking about like obviously his last fight with Sean Porter. Well, I remember Adrian had said something very interesting about how no one wanted to see Sean Porter. How many people do you and because he used pay-per-view numbers as a barometer for that. So to be fair to Crawford, I want to see these pay-per-view numbers for the next fight that Spence had, or just recently with Ugas. How many do you think that did?
I thought it did like 200.
Okay, so it's not it's already lower than Canelo's lowest pay-per-view, and we are acting like he's a big star. And like and hold on, I'm gonna address this because I said people wanted to see Sean Porter. You said no, they didn't. No one cared because nobody bought the pay-per-view. Yet we all agreed we wanted to see Ugas. Yet what? Only 200,000 people, only 200,000 pay-per-view buys for a fight that we all supposedly wanted is better? Like, no, pay-per-view sales aren't what dictates the good fights or what we want to see. That just dictates how much you can sell to a casual, because we just saw a few years ago, a year ago, we saw what Jake Paul did with old dude. Oh my God, I'm so bad at names. Yes, with Tyron Woodley. How many pay-per-views did that do?
Over 1 million.
Mm-hmm. So, and that's a fight none of us wanted to see, but it's sold to the casual. So to say that pay-per-view numbers are a statute for what is and what we did and didn't want to see is nonsense, because Spence isn't even doing numbers, and Canelo was doing those numbers when he was fighting guys like Alfredo Angulo for non-title fights.
350,000.
Real quick, let me just respond real fast. Spence Ugas did 250, and just to be clear. I thought I said Porter was the reason why that pay-per-view sold between him and Bud. He was the A side in that pay-per-view. He was the one doing interviews. He was the one promoting himself every chance he got. Terrence Crawford, how many interviews did he do? Did anyone in here, there's 5 boxing fans, do you recall a single interview leading up to that fight that Crawford did?
Not any like behind the scenes shit, just like the normal one.
Have you seen a single interview? Have you seen a post or pre-fight interview where he was where Crawford was on one of these fights?
Crawford's not really an interview guy, if you notice that.
Well, Crawford's not really a promoter. He doesn't like to promote himself at all. That's really what it comes down to. The reason why I brought up pay-per-view numbers, because pay-per-view numbers matter, because it's what he wants to get paid. If what's his name, Crawford was crying that he wants how much money did he want for the Spence
10 million. 10 million.
He can't get paid. You have to understand the math. The money doesn't add up. Why would a promoter pay him 10 million if he doesn't bring anything to the table sales wise? That's why pay-per-view matters.
Yep.
And
wait, he wants 10 million for Arrow,
which is Spence Ugas did 250.
That's what
you could confirm. I don't know. I'm almost positive I read a tweet that it said 250, which is actually not bad, because Ugas is really not like he's not known. Like, no one really knows him. So 250 just really impressive, because he hasn't fought in a while. This is his first fight coming off an injury in the car accident.
Yep. And then another thing too, the
Crawford,
I thought that fight did like 100,000.
And we're for 1 second. And Spence sold out Dallas Cowboys.
But I'm not surprised. He always does. He's from Dallas.
Wait.
It's
Hold on,
just
but
like
didn't we rip Tank
Stop.
Davis for doing the same numbers?
That aren't relevant.
Didn't we rip Tank Davis for basically doing the same number of pay-per-view sales?
Davis
and Spence is more established.
Well,
he's done more than Tank Davis. We can agree, right?
Davis ripped his own promoter.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Wait, you're breaking up.
I think
Three
he.
ti- I think
when
3
he
times
broke,
now,
I texted
he
him
sold
to go back to
50,000.
the, Hey,
Pay-per-views.
Adrian, go back to your garage, bro, because your signal is really bad
Yeah.
and you're breaking up. But anyways, really quickly,
Take David.
the Crawford Porter fight. The Crawford Porter fight did 135,000 compared to Spence Porter that did what 350,000. Like clearly, we know who the A side is in that fight. And Porter, I'm sorry, and Terrence Crawford, he's just not a marketable guy. He's just not. He's a great fighter, all-time great. Some people consider him still the pound for pound best right now, but he's not a marketable guy. He's not. So I don't know.
I'm just
I don't
saying.
know.
So
It's hard. It's hard for anybody to pay him.
Unfortunately, unless Crawford wants to take a big pay cut, well, I don't want to say pay cut now because he's got a promoter, so he's gonna have to take the best deal he could get. Which, you guys tell me. You guys are the experts here. I'm the casual. Is he going with PBC?
I think
He
so.
better.
He
Yeah,
has
better.
to. If
He
he
has
wants
no
the
choice.
Spence fight, you better go to with
There's
PBC.
no
I mean, at this
what's
point,
left
that's-
for him. No one wants to see Josh Taylor. Not until Josh Taylor does something at 147 at least. No one wants to see that.
Right.
Like I want to see Crawford, Spence. It's been long enough. We've
Yes.
held onto this fight for too long. We've
We need
waited
that.
and demanded it for way too much, and we're willing to give you our wallets to pay and
Yep,
watch it.
take my money.
Crawford
Yeah.
has to do this. He has to take the PBC deal, and he
That's
already
the
said
fight to me.
he's not taking a tune-up. He said this is just for Spence. There is no tune-up. Like he is going right
Really?
to Spence.
Gonna have to take maybe one. He's gonna have to take a huge. I'm talking huge pay cut. He made $7 million in his last fight.
Did he? That's a lot.
I don't
he
know.
didn't even generate
No.
that.
No, I'm just saying. Well, they
There's no
lost
way.
whatever he made. Listen, there's no way they could pay him more than they paid Ugas.
No.
To be honest with you, I'm saying it respectfully. I'm not.
Bro, look, listen. His last pay-per-view with Sean Porter, I don't even think generated $7 million.
Wait, hold on, Adrian.
Check out
You already
mine.
got
You said-
overpaid.
You said there's no way that Crawford gets paid more than Ugas?
I don't think.
Nah, you're smoking crack, bro.
Nah, he'll get
Okay,
paid more.
I'm
Big
just
crack.
saying. I don't know how you could pay him more.
I'm not saying I'm not. All right, how much do Ugas make?
I think he got 7.
7?
I think so. Hold on. Let me
700,000?
look it up. You guys purse.
Because even if Crawford is
Crawford's
Hey.
getting at least like 3 to 5.
Oh no,
million
I'm
dollars.
capping 1.5. 1.5. I'm
all
bugging.
right, yeah.
Crawford's getting at least $3 to $5 million for that fight, not including the pay-per-view share.
Mhm.
There's no way that fight is too big. That fight,
Yeah,
listen, that fight is going to sell. You got to remember,
Oh
neither
my God.
of them are big pay-per-view stars. But when you
50-50
combine
split of
those
pay-per-view
two
money.
in a fight that everyone is desperately wanting, the
Who's-
casuals are gonna come in. That fight can do at least like 700, 800,000
I think so.
pay-per-view buys, and with the
No.
shares, they'll probably make like Spence might make like 17, 18 million
No,
dollars.
Never.
Crawford
I
might
don't-
make like 6 or 7. Who
you're-
knows?
You're crazy.
Nah, I don't think he's crazy. I don't think he's crazy. We're
Okay.
we're
I'm
talking that
serious.
Crawford don't sell, but Crawford
good
is
with
still
numbers,
pretty
man.
big. Y'all talking like
But
y'all
you
talking
guys,
like
really, you
Crawford's
guys
on
really think
Ugas
that fight
level.
is that? You guys really think that fight is that like that everybody wants that bad? Really?
Johnny,
I'll be
Yeah,
real.
yeah,
I'll be real. Hold on.
honestly,
Johnny.
That
Let
fight
I
will do
think-
numbers.
Let me go real fast. If you guys, oh God, you guys don't know how numbers work. If that fight would break 1 million, let's just say that this is what you guys are saying.
No, not a million. Like 700,000.
700,000. If you guys think, I think 600 to 700 is fine. That's not that much. If you guys think how much you want to pay these guys each? This isn't Tyson Fury who's selling out 89,000, 90,000.
Cabo Stadium.
Hey, but I'll be real though.
What?
Hey,
Dollars
so much time passed. I don't even care if the Crawford Errol Spence fight happens. I'll be real.
Hey,
Real quickly. Hold on.
Hey,
Johnny, I wanted
guys,
to
really
say
quickly.
something.
I got about 5 minutes left. Let me let Joe say what he wants to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so really quickly, because we're talking about pay-per-view sales, I'm gonna be real with you. When I was at the party last night, because like I watched the fight, a Canelo Bivol fight at a party. It was for a friend's our birthday party. We were downtown, we were clubbing, and they had a fight on. There was a lot of people who obviously were pretty much casuals, but they knew names like Shakur Stevenson. They knew names like Spence and Crawford. I'm gonna say this: if that fight gets made, I think it breaks 1 million pay-per-views because I believe in synergy. Like, no. Check this out, and I'm gonna make an example of this. When Canelo fought Lara, it was only 300,000 pay-per-view sales, correct? It was about 300,000. It was the same as Angulo.
300,000 and 20 and no, it was 350. My bad.
Yeah,
No,
it was 300K. Yeah. So
325.
my point still stands. When Canelo fought Chavez Jr., it was close to 1 million.
I think it did 1 million. Actually.
Okay, when he
900,000.
fought Cotto, he did 900,000. Who you match up with?
Right.
Yeah.
And Chavez was 1 million.
Yeah,
My bad.
yeah,
And you're right. Yes.
Yeah. And who you fight matters. If Floyd did he did like 4 or 5 million for Pacquiao sales, and then what did his next fight do for Berto? It was 500,000.
Yeah.
That was a tenth of that. Who you fight matters, and synergy is real. That's what makes 2 + 2 = 5. Obviously, not really, but that's like that's the point of what synergy is. Like sometimes you need 2 things that don't work well on their own to come together to multiply it by 10 or 20 times. I think Crawford Spence does 1 million.
Real quick,
He doesn't hire.
Great assessment.
if Crawford Spence does 1 million, a promoter would be chomping at the bit, begging them, and that's not the case. They know the reality of the situation. No casual gives a fuck. Only hardcore. Hardcore fans don't buy pay-per-views. The casuals buy.
Stream.
I
Listen,
sorry guys.
realistically, a realistic number that I think Spence and Crawford does, honestly, is no more than 500, and I think that's pushing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think?
You think that would do less than Amir Khan Canelo Alvarez?
Yes.
No,
bro,
Johnny.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
Yo,
sorry. No.
Bro, Canelo Alvarez sold more with with Avni Yildirim than Crawford and Porter did.
Well, I thought that fight wasn't a pay-per-view fight, and you could get it on DAZN.
No, yeah, but it's a paper. Hold on. Let me find it.
Yeah, check, because I definitely don't believe that was pay-per-view. There was no way.
Listen, if how much you said that Porter and Spence did?
135. Oh, Spence and Porter 350.
So if Spence and Porter did 350, you're telling me that Porter
Crawford.
and I don't know. Fuck, man, my bad, bro. Spence and Crawford can do at least like 600,000, 700,000. Like
The reason. Okay, but listen. You brought up Spence and Porter. They did 350, but now look what Crawford and Porter did. They did 135.
Yeah.
But it's Spence and Crawford though.
Okay, I
and
get
that's
it.
That's the fight that everybody wants, the diehards, right?
Hardcore.
Who's asking for it, bro?
Not
It's
casual.
Casuals like it
The
too.
diehard fans,
Casuals
the
have brought it
diehard
up.
boxing fans
Casual.
are asking
Listen,
for that fight.
I'm around the city of Dallas. I'm involved with a lot of the nightlife that comes around in Dallas. Dallas is one of the biggest melting pots in the entire country.
Yeah.
DFW has a lot of people coming in and out because DFW Airport is one of the biggest airlines around the world. Like, people talk about this fight. They know who these people are.
But that's
However,
because of
they're
Errol
not.
Spence.
No, but here's the thing, though. They're not so. They don't know them so much that they're willing to go pay money for it. However, with big time fights, with things that have meaning, like Wilder Fury, I'm gonna tell you right now, a lot of people didn't really know who Wilder and Fury. I was trying to beg people to look into these guys, and they were like, who are those guys? Because obviously they don't know who they were. And look, and it sold well. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't not downplay. What's the word I'm looking for? Oh yeah, don't underestimate the power of groupthink, because once people start buzzing about a fight, casuals will buy into it, and they will buy into Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. I guarantee.
What fight has hit 1 million? That, like, bro, there's only a handful of people that can hit 1 mil. And it's not Terrence Crawford.
Bro, listen. Let me tell
the
you
biggest
this.
fights in boxing do close to 1 million, if not over 1 million, though.
It's not.
Listen,
That is the biggest fight to make in boxing, though, and that's what a lot of people are underestimating. Neither guy is a huge megastar in terms of numbers, but when you combine those, when you make a fight that everybody in boxing that watches boxing wants to see, people are going to buy it. My dad doesn't watch boxing the way he used to watch it. I called him up last night for the Canelo fight. Guess what? He bought it. He didn't even know Canelo was fighting, and he bought it because
let me tell you this. This is what I'm gonna say. With this, I'm gonna end.
So big fights.
Listen. Canelo. Okay, Canelo Alvarez versus Josiel Martinez does more, which is this guy up here on the top right, does more than Crawford and Spence.
That's because I'm a superstar.
I mean, I
'cause
wouldn't
can talk
doubt it.
shit
It's Canelo.
because I would have a
Come
good shot at
That's
beating
it, I'm
Canelo
Canelo,
Alvarez.
bro.
That's why. Do you not see my Twitter numbers, bro? Come on now. I get, bro. I would beat everybody.
Can I make a quick comment?
But wait, what's your Twitter numbers? I want to know.
I'm just one quick comment. The
You
biggest
got a
fight
fight on.
is nowhere near Terrence Crawford versus Spence. That's nowhere near. The biggest fight in boxing is probably Jake Paul versus McGregor.
No, Jake Paul versus Tommy Fury is probably the biggest.
No,
fight.
I'm serious, guys. I'm serious. Like
No.
Paul
It's
versus McGregor
we're dead ass.
probably does 2.2 million, maybe 2.5.
Yeah. Listen. I was just about to say, Errol Spence and Jake Paul does fucking way bigger numbers than Crawford.
It does bigger numbers than Canelo against anyone.
Well, Canelo versus
It does
Jake
bigger
Paul
numbers
would-
than Canelo against anyone. Think about that.
Yeah, I think Jake Paul, if promoted right, Jake Paul versus Canelo could probably do 3 because people would pay to see Canelo just kill him. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
100%.
I agree with that.
All right,
I'm gonna
all
start
right,
getting
fellas. I
people
gotta go
hurt.
back to work. I'm gonna holler at you guys. Thank you guys for being on.
Yep. Peace,
Peace.
yo. Be safe. God bless everybody, man.
You too,
Good
bro.
talking to you, fellas. Thanks for having me, John.
No problem, bro.
Yep. Y'all be safe.
You too, man.